بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us the tawfiq, the ability to attend this session. Darul Uloom New York and Sotul Quran Foundation of North America present to you the Tarteel program, wherein we will make mashq and practice the last 10 surahs inshallah. Initially, this was a program that was live in the Darul Uloom for the I'tikaf brothers, and we were requested to record the sessions, but the sessions were a little long. That's why we decided to record them afterwards. So for those who are at home who are unable to attend the I'tikaf, they could also benefit as well. Or those who are not, they're mobile, they're out, they're traveling, they could also attend these sessions as well. First, we will start with a short introduction. The recitation of the Quran is very blessed. Many of us know the virtues. We've read about the virtues and heard of the virtues over and over again. Just to bring one hadith in mind, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has mentioned that for every letter of the Quran is 10 blessings. And then he says that I don't say alif lam mim is one letter, but rather alif is one letter, lam is one letter, and mim is one letter. So from this hadith we come to understand that for every single letter we recite will be a blessing, and for each blessing we know it multiplies up to 10-fold, and then in Ramadan time it multiplies up to 70-fold and even more depending on one's intention. So that's why we should make an endeavor, especially in Ramadan, to recite more and more Quran, try to correct our recitation. And every time we try to correct one letter, we should think of it as at least 70 times or 700 times, because if you multiply 10 by 70, 700 times reward for this one letter that I'm trying to recite. So that's why we should never feel despondent or never back down. Rather, if we keep this in mind, inshallah we will continue making an effort and striving for it. Thereafter, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says in another hadith that the best amongst you are those that recite the Quran and teach the Quran. So this is a certificate from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying that the person that holds the best degree, the person that holds the best virtue, is the one who recites and learns the Quran. So this is very important. Inshallah, we should keep these virtues in mind every time we start our recitation. Similarly, along with the virtues, the Quran is the kalam of Allah. In another hadith, Allah Ta'ala says that the virtue of Allah's kalam, Allah's speech, or Allah Ta'ala's word over the word of the entire mankind is like the virtue of Allah over His entire creation. So this holds the greatest weight in the eyes of Allah more than any other statement of any person, to the extent that it holds more weight than the status of hadith and tafsir and fiqh and other things as well. That's why we need to give special attention to this. Some of the etiquettes we need to keep in mind whilst reciting Quran. One is that we should be clean. Another is that we should be in the state of wudu. Another is that we should sit with extreme amount of respect for the Quran. Another is that we should face the Qibla whenever we can, to the best of our ability. Another is that when we recite the Quran, we should put it on a higher place, on a stand or something that elevates the Quran. Another is that we should have a covering for the Quran for respect. Whenever we recite the Quran, we should start with A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Inshallah, in the future sessions, we will practice these two lines as well, inshallah. Another is that we should recite with full concentration so that no other thoughts should enter the mind. Another is that we should not indulge in talking whilst reading the Quran. Another is that if a person does talk or loses concentration or decides to do something else, then before restarting the Quran, they should say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Also, we should not joke, laugh, or play when reciting the Quran. It's extremely disrespectful and dishonorable to do so. And the reader should have in mind that Allah Ta'ala has ordered me to recite the Quran. Allah Ta'ala is watching me as I recite the Quran. He is listening to me attentively as I recite the Quran. Another is that the reciter should keep in mind that the kalam of Allah, the word of Allah is being recited. So he should recite with full attention, and the person listening also should listen with attention as well. And we should try our best to recite the Quran in the most beautiful and melodious voice that we may or we can. These etiquettes are taken from the qaida that the Quran has, that the Darul Ulum has provided. The second part of today's program, we'd like to go over the letters, each and every single letter, inshallah. And it will be a quick session where each letter we will discuss in a certain way. We're not going to go over the makhraj, where it comes from, how it's, because that it's extended. Instead, what we'll do, we're going to do practical with each letter. The way we'll do it is, each letter we'll recite with a zabar, zair and pesh, meaning fatha, dhamma and kasra. Thereafter, each letter, we're going to make it a sakin and add a letter before it and give it a fatha or zabar. So when the letter is stopped on, we also know how it is pronounced. For example, the first letter is alif or hamza, first pronounced with zabar, zair, pesh, a, I, u. Thereafter pronounced with a sakin before it, a fatha or zabar. I'll put a random letter, for example, jim fatha, so it'll be ja, ji, ju. So in that manner we'll go over every single letter, so we know how each letter is pronounced in its state when it receives a harakat, and also in the state when it receives a sakin, inshallah. So the first letter is a hamza or alif. A, I, U, Ba, Bi, Bu. Remember, it's the second letter, not the first letter. So the ba attaching to the hamza, it's the hamza that we are concentrating on. Again, one more time. A, I, U, Ba, Bi, Bu. According to some scholars, the first letter is not the hamza, since the hamza comes afterwards, but the first letter is the alif. And if we consider the letter alif, then the letter alif is different from the hamza. The letter alif is different from the hamza letter. The alif is a mad, it is prolonged, so it does not have a haraka. It does not have zair, zabar, pesh. Rather, it comes as a supplement, or it is attached to another letter by means of that letter, now by means of which that letter is prolonged. So instead of ja, you'll say ja, ji, or rather ja, ba, ta. When the alif is added to another letter, then you're going to prolong it. Continuing to the next letter. Ba, ba, bi, bu, ab, ib, ub. This is a very easy letter, similar to the B in the English letter, in the English language, except you're going to have a little bit of an echo when you attach another letter to this letter, and this letter is a sakin, as was mentioned. Ab, ib, ub. Third letter, tha, as, is, us, or tha, thi, thu. Many people pronounce or mispronounce this letter with the S or the sin. They say sa, si, su, which is wrong. The tha, if you transliterate it into English, into English, it's th, and it's the th of three, just like we say three. So tha, thi, thu, and if you add it or attach another letter, ath, ith, uth. Next letter, I apologize, one letter we skipped, the ta. The ta is also very simple. Ta, ti, tu, at, it, ut. Also, when you detach from the ta, a little breath is also emanates also. At, it, ut. The tha we covered the next letter. Afterwards is the jim, also a very simple letter. Ja, ji, ju, aj, ij, uj. The next letter is ha, which is from the middle of the throat. It's a very hard or coarse letter. Ha, hi, hu, ah, ih, uh. The next is a kha. It's like when we gargle, we say the same sound but much lesser. Kha, khi, khu, akh, ich, The next letter is a dal, also a very simple letter. Da, di, du, ad, id, ud. The next letter is a dal. This dal also transliterates as a th in the English language, but it's like a th of the word that. The, the, thu, ad, id, ud. Many people have the same mistake as the tha here. They'll pronounce it more like a z, za, which is wrong. A simple solution for both of these letters, the tha, the fourth letter, and the dhal, is that the tongue will protrude a little bit, it'll come out a little bit, very little, or rather the tip of the tongue is touching the tip of the front teeth above the top front teeth. So the, thu. The next letter is the ra, which is different from the English r. The r is more the tongue flipping towards the top of the palate middle, and the ra is the tongue more towards the teeth or right behind the teeth. Ra. And it has different pronunciation slightly when it's fatha and when it's kasra. They're a little different. So you have ra, ri, ru, and ar, id, ud. The next letter is za, similar to the English z. Za, zi, zu, az, is, uz. The next letter is sin, similar to the English s. Sa, si, su, s, is, us. The next letter is shin, similar to the English sh. Sha, shi, shu, ash, ish, ush. The next letter is sad. It's like a sin, except it's emphatic or more full mouth, where the tongue inside will become round. Sa, si, su, as, is, us. The next letter is wad, which is a soft but very full mouth sound, a bit similar to the dal or the dha, but in between the two. So it's a soft sound from the back of the mouth inside, and it's a full mouth sound. Wa, li, wu, al, il, ul. One thing to keep in mind, all of these letters and surahs, the recording is not enough for you to learn your surahs and letters, but it will definitely aid you. You need to grab a professional reciter of the Quran to help train you, inshallah. The next letter is ta. It's same as ta, except it's emphatic, it's full mouth. Ta, ti, tu, atl, itl, utl. Also, we need to take note that this letter, when you attach to it, then it produces an echo afterwards, just like we had with the ba, also with the jim as well, and the dal. The next letter is va, similar to the dal, except it's full mouth, it's emphatic. Va, li, lu, al, il, ul. Some people mistaken this letter to say za or zwa, which is completely wrong. The next letter is ayn, which also comes from the middle of the throat. A, i, u, a, i, u. The next letter is a ghain, which comes from the top part of the throat closer to the mouth. Gha, ghi, ghu, agh, igh, ugh. The next letter is a fa, similar to the English F. Fa, fi, fu, af, if, uf. The next letter is a qaf, which is from the extreme back of the throat. Qa, qi, qu, aq, iq, uq. It also produces the echo, and it's similar to the sound of the crow. Just one small clarification, the ghain sound is similar to the gargling sound that we make, and the kha sound that I had mentioned earlier is more closer to when a person would, for example, spit some saliva, they make the sound. So the kha is similar to that, whilst the ghain is similar to the gargling sound. The next letter, kaf, similar to the English K. Ka, ki, ku, ak, ik, uk. The next letter is lam, similar to the English L. Similar but not the same. L is where the tongue twists somewhat and touches the top of the palate, while the lam is where the tongue is more forward, right behind the teeth. La, li, lu, al, il, ul. The next letter is mim, similar to the English M. Ma, mi, mu, am, im, The next letter is noon, similar to the English N. Na, ni, nu, an, in, un. The next letter is waw. Wa, wi, wu, aw, ew, oo. This is similar somewhat to the English W. The next letter is ha, similar to the English H, and it's a softer sound than the ha that had passed earlier, which is more coarse. Ha, he, hu, ah, ih, The next letter is the hamza, which we had already discussed when the alif had come in the beginning, but to discuss it one more time. A, I, U, Ma, Mi, Mu. And finally, the last letter is the letter Ya, similar to the English Y. Ya, Yi, Yu, Ay, I, Uy. May Allah Ta'ala give us tawfiq to correct the letters, inshallah. This is the first step, and most importantly, we can practice with the recording. You can always go back and listen to it again, and you can practice, but most definitely you need to correct it with someone in person and live, so that it is perfected, inshallah. May Allah Ta'ala give us all tawfiq, and may Allah accept this effort from all of us, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.